Hey there, YouTube. Today I want to talk about The Secret. And I'm not talking about the law of attraction because that's garbage. But I'm going to be telling you the real secret to life and getting everything you want. And it's real. I'm telling you, it's real. I had an experience, so I know things. And, okay, so where should I start? Hold on here. So, as some of you know, I had a powerful experience with ayahuasca, and it was so powerful that I garnered a whole new set of beliefs, and one of those beliefs is that a higher power exists, and I'm part of this higher power. And I also learned that the way to reclaim this power is through trusting the greater plan. It said that I had to trust God, basically. But ayahuasca also told me that God doesn't exist. Ayahuasca said God both is equally here and not here. So I don't know what that means. This is just something that ayahuasca told me, that God is both here, he exists, and he doesn't exist. So I'm just telling you what I heard. Anyway, it's very important to trust God, even though he may or may not be here. But it's like the most important thing to do. So when I did ayahuasca, it was like I understood reality. It was the true reality, and I was getting all this information, and I understood why the physical world is necessary, but I could only understand as far as my emotional understanding could take me. I couldn't learn everything because I didn't have an emotional connection to some of the more deeper answers I was asking. And what I did learn is that we are all here to suffer. It was very clear to me that that is why we are here. We are here to suffer, because it is only through suffering that comes a breaking point. So the more we suffer, we're able to get to a certain breaking point, and we come to a decision. We say, okay, enough is enough. And depending on how dire their circumstance is, some people, they are okay with risking their life in order to achieve their goal. And it's sad that people would want to, risk their life. And it's usually to obtain some form of freedom. And they're willing to risk their life, risk everything, just to obtain that freedom. And when it comes down to a life or death scenario, this means that the suffering you've endured is the highest it can get. Because when it's life and death, that's it. That's at its peak. It's like the suffering gauge has filled to the top, and the pressure is mounting to where the excess energy needs to be released in order to bring the body back to homeostasis. And it's not just us that wants to release the energy to get back to something more stable. It's not just people. It's not just life. It is. It's all energy and all matter. Everything in existence is all about bringing itself back into homeostasis. But in order to return to homeostasis, you have to change as a person, or a molecule, or a chemical. There goes a metamorphosis takes place in order for you to become more peaceful and stable. And we are changing ourselves. We morph into something completely different than the person we were before. And the person we become depends on the choices we make during this chaotic event where the pressure needs to be released, and we need to get out all our excess energy. It's the choices we make on how to do this is what shapes us as to what kind of person we will be. And, what parts are we willing to lose? Because we have to chip away something. Some form of energy has to be released. And what energy are we going to be left with in the end? Is it going to be all our good parts or all the negative parts? I have to get a Subway grinder. I'm getting one for Liz and one for my dad. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, where was I? Oh boy. Alright, so who are you gonna be after this incident? Okay, so how should I word this? People are constantly confused over which parts are weak and which parts are strong. And I'll break this down so it's easy for you to tell the difference. So that way, when the time comes and you need to make a choice, you'll be able to do the right thing. Okay? So this is important. During that heightened moment where you've suffered enough and you have to make a choice, you can either protect yourself or you can risk your life. And our brains are already wired in a way that makes us either want to fight or to flee. And I learned at a very young age that I am a fighter. I have stories where I've lost my temper and stood up to the bullies. But deciding to fight is no better than fleeing. And in some cases it is, but not when it's your own anger that's controlling you. And I need to explain this a little bit better. Hold on. Let me think of one. So while you're in that moment where you're seeing red and you're about to bust open, you have to somehow keep a cool enough head to where you can make a choice that is both flight and fight. You want to do both those things, not one or the other. Because if you choose one or the other, then you're not being the one in control of the situation. You want to be in control of things. So you're asking me, but Melanie, how could you choose both things? Aren't they the complete opposite? Okay, hold on. In my personal experience where I've encountered fight or flight, I fought with the sole intent of causing harm to the other person. So during my heightened adrenaline rush, I chose to cause harm. And that was my only intent. That was my only focus. I didn't care anything about my own safety. And this is where intent comes into play. It's all about intent. Do you understand? Because causing harm to another person should never be your intent or your goal. Causing harm only exacerbates more hate and more anger and more loss of control. It doesn't solve anything. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's see now. Where was I? I want to stay on subject. So I was talking about the choices we make, and okay, so I always chose to harm the other person whenever I was angry and I just lost my temper. I always wanted to hurt the person who was causing me all that pain. And that's not a good thing, okay? That's not being self-aware of your choices. That's letting your reptilian brain do all the thinking for you. Your choices are so important because if it really is a life or death situation, you always have to fight. Always choose to fight. Because if someone is literally trying to kill you, they have absolutely no right to do that. So you have to fight for yourself. And if you have to harm another person because they're attacking you, then that's just how it has to be. Then you have to hurt them. But your intent shouldn't be to hurt them. Your intent should be you are going to survive this. But yeah, your choices during these extreme moments of adrenaline should be about accomplishing a greater good. Fight against the fear. And sometimes in certain situations, maybe possibly all situations, you're actually fighting against yourself and your own demons. Okay, so anyway, to get back to what I was saying earlier, that our ultimate goal for being here in this world is for us to evolve. And we can only evolve through suffering. And it's through suffering we find our courage and strength to let go of our fears. And we have the courage to face our fears, but we have all different breaking points. Some people are so broken that they're either in a constant state of angry adrenaline, or they're so far removed from reality that they choose to live a lie rather than face the truth. And once we face these obstacles and overcome them, we can learn how to let go. We need to experience our fears. We can't hide from our fears, because then we'll also be telling a lie to ourselves. So we have to experience them, let the emotions take us, but we have to let these emotions wash over us like waves. And with time, those waves will get further apart and fewer between. And you just need to trust the process. You have to really trust what I'm telling you is real, because it could change your life. If you're going through something, you really have to go through it and not around it, And the reason why I'm bringing all this stuff up is because yesterday one of my new therapists kept canceling a client that I booked her. And the client called me and told me she got a notification that her appointment was canceled. So I went on the schedule, and sure enough, a different client's name was there. It wasn't her name, it was someone else booked because it was open. So I had to move the new client over to me, which kind of irritated me. And then I booked the client again, who specifically asked to be put with this particular therapist. So I did that, and guess what happened? The therapist canceled it again. She canceled it again. And another client took the spot. So I had to move that other client over to Liz so I can book the original client again. And I was so upset and so angry. And I had a cup of chai tea, which has caffeine in it, which totally messes with my mind. And I couldn't think straight. I was overcome with anger. It was too late to call the therapist, so I had to go to sleep and be all an angry mess trying to fall asleep. And when I woke up and texted the therapist, and it turns out that she really likes that client, and she remembered booking that client, but she thought she booked it for a different day, and she was confused, and that's why she kept canceling her, because she thought it was that was the wrong time. But anyway, I got upset over nothing, is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes, yes, you get upset for good reason and you need to take action, but a lot of the times it's just you're getting upset for no good reason. And I just have to keep reminding myself to trust. It's like when a person who can't swim, a lifeguard or someone tries to save them, but that person who's drowning is so scared and frantic that they use the body of the person trying to save them to keep themselves afloat. And it's like that saying that you always hurt the ones you love. It's like we take them for granted, and we're always trying to we're trying to drown the people who are trying to keep us afloat, because we don't trust them and we don't trust anybody. And I think really, guys, learning how to swim is essential to learning how to trust, because swimming is the physical embodiment of trust. And for people who say they're not a strong swimmer, that's just another way of saying they don't know how to swim. They can't swim at all. Because you either sink or you swim. There is no in between. And people who actually know how to swim, they know how to be buoyant, and their body intuits the water. They work with the water, not against it. And it's something that can't be taught by a teacher, but it can only be learned through trust. But I did wake up today with a clear head, and it was like last night never happened. It's amazing how that works. Like, we are not our bodies, and we are not the chemicals and the hormones in our heads. But once we're inside the dream of suffering, we take it as reality. And unfortunately, being lucid all the time is also tiring. So really, I don't know, you can't win. But yeah, the moral of this story is to just you have to trust the process and make clear decisions. Don't fight and don't flee. You have to do both of them, and make sure that your intent is in the positive light instead of something dark. And always fight for yourself. Fight for your freedom and your equalities, because there's nothing more important than that. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go listen to some music. I'm really thirsty. Okay, bye.